Hello, my name is Kyle, and I am at the Tech Museum of Innovation in San Jose, and I'm very happy to interview Jim Garvin. Hello, Jim.
Hi, Kyle.
So what sort of work do you do?
Well, Kyle, I'm a scientist at NASA, and that's not scary. I know people wonder, this is the S word, but this is really a lot of fun. I've been a NASA scientist forever, and I've studied Mars, the Earth. I've measured trees from space without touching them. Looked at Venus, pretty hot. Wouldn't recommend a round trip there, or a round trip would be good. And been a NASA scientist my whole career.
You have been working in the Mars exploration in 2000 and 2004. What was that like?
Well, Kyle, I'll tell you, we had a little setback with Mars. In 1999, we lost 2 of our space probes, just due to the challenges of getting to Mars. The batting average of Mars wouldn't make MVP in the Major League Baseball. It's that tough. So we redesigned the whole program from the bottoms up. And we came up with an idea that we would send rovers and other missions that do reconnaissance and landers that go to the ice sheets. And so working on the architecture, how to do that for science, for exploration, for discovery, for you guys, was way cool. It was one of the greatest things I ever got to do as a NASA scientist.
So what do you think was the greatest achievement on that Mars mission?
Well, I think now we have a mission called the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, or MRO. And MRO has discovered lots of places on Mars where we think there were standing bodies of liquid water. The kind of place where if you were here looking in the foothills of California, you might even look for fossils. Places. And the next Mars mission, the next big one, the Mars Science Lab, you know what a Mini Cooper is? Imagine a rover that size on Mars. We're building one right now. So we found those down the road in Pasadena. And when we're going to use that new information to target that rover at a place where we're really going to look for whether or not Mars was ever alive.
When did you start planning on having your job in science of NASA?
I think when I was much younger than you. I was NASA at birth, as my parents said. So I'm a creature of the space age, was born right about the time NASA was started. And I watched the guys land on the moon, and it was real, let me tell you. And so I knew I was hooked to do it. And so I was pretty much always ready to go.
So did anyone inspire you or help you get onto your way to having this job?
Oh, absolutely, Kyle. We all have inspiration from wherever. For me, I was lucky. I went to a couple of universities where there were some people, women and men, that really inspired me. One guy, he was a professor. He taught about rocks, geology is what I like. He was so interested in this stuff, when he was in his 50s, he decided he wanted to go climb the Himalayas. And here's a guy, his career, teaching kids, doing NASA stuff, and he just showed me that exploration, places like Mars, is the way to go. So those guys really inspired me.
So how did your career choice affect your family and friends? How did that help?
Well, I think, I'm lucky I have a family. I have a son and daughter. Son's a little younger than you, daughter a little younger than that. They both know what it's like to have a NASA geek in the house. They've seen rocket launches. They've been to JPL to see rovers being tested. It's part of their life. And I think, for me, the ability to share it, I'm really passionate about this stuff. I believe it's what we got to do, has really affected them. And I think, I'll say this, my wife is the most tolerant person alive. Given that she has a basement full of rocks and spacecraft models littering the house, NASA stuff everywhere, she lives with it and realizes it's what I like to do.
So what is your current job, or what are you doing currently?
Well, right now, I am the chief scientist for NASA's biggest science center. It's called the Goddard Space Flight Center. Goddard was the rocket pioneer who built the first American rockets back in the 1940s in Massachusetts, so from New England. And so I help 1,300 scientists who work there study the Earth, the universe. Of course, my passion, Mars. We're designing missions that could go to Venus. We're operating the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter. We're going to launch that this fall when you're in, I guess, 9th grade. And you can see incredible pictures of the moon and other data. So we're doing a lot of stuff there, and I'm lucky to be there. It's a great place to get the scientists to do neat work.
So do you have any current goals with your current job right now?
I do. I want us to really get to know the moon as if we were there with this mission we're launching, this robot. It's about the size of a refrigerator, quite frankly, that we're launching just after Halloween. We call it LRO. and it's going to map the moon at scales where we could see you from orbit. And if you were moving, we'd watch you. Uh-oh. Not really, but maybe. And, but we want to get to know the moon because we're going back there. Maybe you'll go. I'm not sure. It'll be a good trip. Only 3 days back. 3 days back. But my other goal is to see the success of the science laboratory when it lands on Mars in 2010. That's our Mini Cooper. And I was lucky enough to have helped the United States choose to build that mission at JPL. And so I want to see it work. So you guys can see high-definition TV as a rover drives around Mars looking for the building blocks of life.
Wow. So thank you for your time, Jim.
Hey, Kyle.
Yeah, thank you.
Good to know you.
All right.
Great interview.